Who will win in the battle to the death between Lucifer Morningstar and Zeus? In the vast DC universe, where supernatural beings and ancient gods coexist with mortal heroes, two figures stand out with overwhelming power. Lucifer Morningstar, son of the presence, is the supreme ruler of the entire multiverse. He was once an archangel, but after his rebellion, he left heaven to rule hell for 10 billion years. With golden hair that shines in the mystical light, eyes as red as hellfire, and giant black wings that can block out the sky, Lucifer represents freedom and manipulation. He not only created his own multiverse, but also transcended abstract entities like the endless, including death with a slender figure, long black cloak, and mysterious smile. Fate with a giant book that records all events, Dream with a pale face, eyes sparkling with stars, and other siblings such as Destruction, Desire. Zeus, king of the Greek gods in the DC universe, sits atop Mount Olympus with a glittering golden crown, a long white beard, and a thunderbolt scepter that can tear the very fabric of space. He is the symbol of primal power, controlling storms and lightning, with a muscular, rippling body under a pure white robe. To the Greek pantheon and believers, Zeus is supreme, equal to the Lord of Judeo-Christian mythology, ruling the heavens and conquering all enemies. However, even he has been challenged by entities like Typhon, a giant monster with 100 fire-breathing snake heads, or brothers like Poseidon with his trident that sparkles with seawater. The Presence, Lucifer's father, is the supreme being, a shadowy figure that looms over the entire omniverse. He has granted Lucifer unparalleled power, making him the second most powerful being after his father. Michael, Lucifer's brother, was once an angelic warrior with a blazing sword of fire, but was defeated by Lucifer in a fratricidal war. Darkseid, the Lord of Apocalypse with his stone-gray skin, laser-red eyes, and soul-sucking power, had once subdued Zeus in his youth, but compared to Lucifer, he was a minor threat. The background to the confrontation stems from an ancient conflict. Lucifer, after leaving hell, wandered through dimensions, searching for absolute freedom. Zeus, feeling his power threatened by the interference of entities outside the pantheon, decided to convene the council of the gods to discuss. In the gleaming white marble palace of Olympus, with its colossal pillars and the sky always shining with lightning, Zeus sat on the throne, his voice echoing like thunder. "We cannot allow a lost archangel to invade our territory." The gods, Athena with her shining helmet and Ares with his blood-red armor, nodded in agreement. Lucifer, from his hellish palace with its burning walls and the black sticks, smiled contemptuously. He knew his power was superior, having created his own universes with starry planets and strange creatures. The endless abstract beings who often gathered in the dream realm, a magical world of shifting sandcastles and whispering forests, acknowledged Lucifer's superiority. Death, with his long black hair and skull necklace, once said, "Lucifer is not bound by any concept." As word of the confrontation spread across the multiverse, Justice League heroes like Superman with his red cape fluttering, Batman with his black cloak shrouded in darkness, and Wonder Woman with her golden bracelets gleaming, gathered at the watchtower. They watched from afar, knowing that Zeus had once been a great threat to them, but Lucifer was far beyond that. Darkseid, from the planet Apocalypse with its fiery pits and flying parademon slaves, sneered, "Zeus is weak, but Lucifer, he is the real threat." Lucifer decided to face it head-on. He flew through the dimensions, his black wings tearing apart reality, leaving a trail of red fire. Arriving at Olympus, he landed on a snowy mountaintop where thunder echoed. Zeus, sensing the presence, summoned his power. He swung his scepter, creating a storm with billowing black clouds, rain falling like silver arrows, and lightning lighting up the night sky. "You dare defy me, fallen archangel?" Zeus roared, his voice shaking the earth, the grass and trees swaying. Lucifer, a mocking smile on his perfect face, replied, "I am not a challenger, but a conqueror. You are but a small god in an ancient pantheon." The battle began. Zeus unleashed the first bolt, a column of white light that tore through the air, aimed straight at Lucifer. He dodged it easily, his wings flapping in a whirlwind that blew away rocks. Lucifer counterattacked with a blood-red hellfire that enveloped Zeus. He used his shield, Aegis, glittering with the image of the Medusa, to block it, but the fire still burned his cloak. The Greek gods intervened. Poseidon swung his trident, sending tidal waves rolling from the blue sea, engulfing Lucifer. But he created a wall of fire, turning the water into scorching steam. Hades from the underworld, with his invisibility cap and black staff, tries to summon ghosts, shadowy figures that fly around. But Lucifer, who once ruled over hell, smirks and controls them. Michael, though dead, his spirit appears as a golden shadow, warning Lucifer, "Little brother, do not let power blind you." But Lucifer ignores him. His power skyrockets, creating the illusion of a multiverse, where Zeus finds himself trapped in countless realities. The sky above Olympus was ablaze with lightning, each white light tearing through space, as if reality itself was being violated. The black clouds rolled, swirling like a giant tornado, carrying the roar of thunder that echoed across the sparkling white marble mountains. Zeus, standing on a giant throne carved from gold and pearls, tightly gripping the thunder scepter, his eyes shining like two sapphires, reflecting the fury of a supreme god. His white robe fluttered in the storm wind, revealing firm muscles, as if carved from granite by the hands of the ancient titans. Opposite him, Lucifer Morningstar stood tall, his huge black wings spread out, each feather glittering as if woven from the darkness of the universe. His crimson eyes did not waver, a sarcastic smile curved on his perfect lips, as if the entire majestic scene of Olympus was just a small theater stage. The black suit he wore hugged his body tightly, without a single crease, as if even Zeus's stormy winds did not dare to disturb his perfection. "You call this power, Zeus?" Lucifer said, his tone smooth as velvet, but as sharp as an ice blade. "I have seen universes collapse, stars disintegrate. You are but a small god, playing with lightning." Zeus roared. The roar shook the entire mountain, causing the marble pillars in the palace to tremble as if they were about to collapse. He raised his scepter high. A huge bolt of lightning shot out, so bright that it eclipsed the sunlight, aimed straight at Lucifer. He only tilted his body slightly, the movement as light as a dance, and the lightning passed through him, hitting a pillar behind him, causing it to shatter into thousands of pieces of stone that sparkled like crystal rain. Lucifer waved his hand. A crimson hellfire erupted from his palm, spreading out like a giant snake, wrapping around Zeus. The fire was not only hot, but also carried a ghostly screech, as if thousands of souls were screaming from hell. Zeus raised his shield, Aegis, with the Medusa head snarling, his gem eyes sparkling with deadly light. The fire collided with the shield, bursting into an explosion of light, causing Olympus to shake. The other gods on the mountaintop began to intervene. Poseidon, with messy blue hair and a trident that sparkled as if forged from ocean water, stepped out of the smoke. He stabbed his trident into the ground. A huge tsunami arose. The deep blue sea water rolled as if to drown Lucifer. But he only raised his hand. The hellfire rose, turning the water into hot steam, rising into the sky like a thick white mist. Hades, from the deep darkness of hell, appeared with a silver helmet of invisibility and a jet-black staff. He summoned thousands of ghosts, shadowy figures with empty eyes, to hover around Lucifer, trying to drag him down into the abyss. But Lucifer, once the Lord of Hell, only sneered, his crimson eyes glowing. He raised his hand, and the ghosts suddenly stopped, turning to obey him, like puppets controlled by invisible strings. "You think these souls belong to you, Hades?" Lucifer said, his tone filled with contempt. "I have ruled them since before you were born." Athena, the goddess of wisdom in shining golden armor and a shining silver spear, jumped into the fight. She threw her spear, the tip cutting through the air at the speed of light, but with a snap of Lucifer's fingers, the spear tip dissolved into sparkling gold dust, falling like a shower of stars. Ares, the god of war, with his blood-red armor and giant sword, roared and charged, but Lucifer created an illusion, causing Ares to slash at nothing, the blade cutting through the air with a deafening screech. In the distance, Michael, the spirit of Lucifer's brother, appeared as a golden light, the flaming sword in his hand still burning despite his death. "Lucifer, brother, stop," Michael shouted, his voice echoing like the bells of heaven. But Lucifer ignored him, his power exploding, creating an illusionary multiverse, where Zeus and the gods found themselves trapped in different realities. Zeus found himself standing on a dead planet, with a blood-red sky and mountains of white bones. Poseidon was pulled into an endless ocean, where the water was as thick as oil. Hades found himself in a hell where he himself was imprisoned. The endless, abstract beings who govern the concepts of the universe watch from the realm of dream. The realm is a fantasy world, with shape-shifting sandcastles, whispering forests with star-studded leaves, and vast libraries containing every dream that has ever existed. Dream, with his tangled black hair and eyes that contain galaxies, stands on a sand balcony, looking down on Olympus. "Lucifer is stronger than we," he whispers, his voice as deep as the night wind. Beside him, Death, with his long black hair and skull necklace, nods, his deep eyes reflecting every soul that has passed through her hands. He is a son of the presence, none of us can compare. Destruction, with his muscular body and silver gray cloak, stands in the far corner, holding a shattered sword, symbolizing destruction. "Lucifer is not only stronger than us," he said, his voice as deep as the sound of broken stone, "but he is not bound by any rules. He is free, and that makes him dangerous." Desire, with her charming smile and eyes that sparkled like fire, only chuckled, saying nothing, but her gaze was full of intrigue. On Olympus, Lucifer summoned the power of the presence, his body bursting with a blinding light, like a second sun burning in the black sky. The light shone across Olympus, dispelling Zeus's dark clouds, revealing a deep blue sky filled with stars. Zeus, though powerful, began to feel tired. He had fought Typhon, a giant with 100 fire-breathing snakes, towering over mountains, but Lucifer was a different entity altogether. He not only fought with power, but also manipulated reality, rendering all of Zeus's attacks meaningless. A giant thunderbolt from Zeus, powerful enough to destroy a mountain range, is transformed by Lucifer into a shower of red roses, which fall to the marble ground. Zeus summons the entire pantheon to fight Lucifer. Hera, the goddess of marriage, with her sparkling peacock crown and deep purple robe, casts a spell to protect her husband, but with a single glance from Lucifer, the spell dissolves into sparkling light. Apollo, the sun god, fires arrows of light from his golden bow, but Lucifer turns them into butterflies of fire, which flutter around him in a brilliant vortex. Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, with her silver bow and long braided hair, tries to shoot an arrow through Lucifer, but he only laughs, and the arrow turns back and lands in front of her feet. Darkseid, from the planet Apocalypse, decides to intervene. He appears through a boom tube portal, his eyes glowing red, shooting out omega rays, a beam of energy that can erase reality itself. But Lucifer, with a wave of his hand, turned the omega beam into cosmic dust, sparkling like falling stars. "You want to try too, Darkseid?" Lucifer said, his tone teasing. Darkseid growled, but did not dare to advance, knowing that he was no match. Zeus, though resilient, was finally exhausted. He fell to his knees on the cracked marble floor, the thunder scepter falling to the ground with a clang like a bell of fate. His white beard was stained with blood, his emerald eyes now dim with fatigue. Lucifer stood tall, his black wings blocking out the sun, the light from his body illuminating Olympus, a declaration of victory. "You see, King of the Gods," Lucifer said, his voice calm but commanding. "I am not the challenger, I am the decider." The Greek gods stood still, helpless before the overwhelming power. Hera embraced Zeus, her eyes filled with concern, while Poseidon and Hades bowed their heads, admitting defeat. From afar, the Justice League watched on the monitors at the watchtower. Superman, his red cape fluttering, clenched his fists, wanting to intervene, but Wonder Woman, her golden bracelets gleaming, placed her hands on his shoulders. "This is not our battle," she said, her voice low but firm. Lucifer turned, his black wings flapping, creating a strong wind that stirred the dust. He walked away, leaving Olympus in ruins, its pillars shattered, its marble walls charred. The golden sunlight shone again, as if to soothe the pain of the fallen gods. The presence, from above, watched over all. His luminous silhouette loomed over the multiverse, not saying a word, but the faint smile on his shadowy face seemed to affirm Lucifer's power. After the battle, Olympus was no longer the same. The magnificent palaces were now cracked, the divine statues were broken, and the sky no longer shone with lightning. Zeus, though still king of the gods, bore the unhealed wound of defeat by Lucifer. He sat on his throne, his eyes gazing far away at the horizon, where white clouds drifted lazily, as if searching for an answer to his powerlessness. Lucifer, victorious, returned to his own realm, a multiverse of his own creation. Here, starry planets rotated in endless space, strange creatures of indescribable shapes flew between galaxies. He sat on a throne made of darkness, his red eyes staring into nothingness, as if contemplating the meaning of power. The endless, from the realm of dream, continued their work. Death wandered the worlds, collecting souls with a gentle smile. Fate writes another page in its eternal book, while dream recreates the dreams destroyed in the battle. But as they all know, Lucifer has left an indelible mark on the multiverse. Darkseid, from Apocalypse, silently reformulated his plans. He knew Lucifer was the greatest threat, and though he would not admit it, he began to think of ways to deal with him. The pits of fire on his planet burned with more intensity, as if reflecting the Dark Lord's anger. Meanwhile, Lucifer, seated on his throne, looked into a sphere of light that contained an image of Olympus in ruins. "Power is not everything," he whispered, his voice echoing through the space. "But it is the only thing worth pursuing." The presence from the highest realm remained silent, but the light from him seemed to radiate more strongly, as a reminder that, no matter how powerful Lucifer was, he was still his son, and in the multiverse, no one could surpass the will of the presence.